Ruthie, I hope you enjoy this. Happy 77th birthday. I think I might go with this one today. It's got a little bit of, this side, it's got a little bit of watercolor ground on it. So I've got my handmade little board there. What else do we need? We need the watercolor palette. Move the coffee far away. This is the card that this is eventually going to be stuck on, so maybe that gives you a hint as to what the project's going to be used for. This is bleed-proof white. I don't have any white gouache at the moment, so that's what I use. And I've got, this is just water, and I go around and drip that onto my paints to get them going, to wake them up. All right, what else do I need? I think I'm going to also get out, these are some Kuretake paints in a little slim cigar box. I may use some of those since this is for, I'll go ahead and spill the beans, it's for a birthday. A good friend is turning 77. Here is an idea of what it might look like when I'm done. That's another one I've done previously on a card and a little bit of cardstock behind it. So I'm going to try and do something similar. I've also got my pencil sharpener and kneaded eraser, because the first bit I'm going to sketch on there, and this is a graphitined white. Since this is so dark, I need something light, but it needs to have a really good point. Over on my computer, I've got a reference ready to go. Way down there. Oh, I just told you what it was, although you probably already figured it out. So yes, we are drawing a cupcake. I'm drawing a cupcake. You're welcome to draw a cupcake too. I kind of want to put the candle at a bit of an angle. It'd be interesting trying to get a good flame depiction on this, but I'm gonna give it a shot. Now there are on the table, there are some little blips of those little round candies that go on cupcakes. So I don't know if I'll be able to get those or not. We'll give it a try. All right, I think that's just enough. Can you even see that? Just a few lines to get me going. Surprisingly, this is the only brush I use. It's a number 2. It's a Lou Cornell, just got a nice point on it. So yeah, that comes out to a nice point. It works great. So my favorite watercolor to use right now is this lac dye. It's a handmade paint. The only downside of it is that it takes forever to wake it up. But that one and the indigo are my favorites. All right, I'm gonna come to the outside of my subject and start making the background a little darker overall. It's pretty dark as it is, but I'm gonna refine that darkness. See if I can start hinting at the folds in the cupcake liner. that's wet. I need to switch to the subject. And I think I'm gonna get some of these lighter spots in. And this is using that bleed-proof white. I tried to keep a little half pan of bleed-proof in here, but when it dries crumbly, and then it gets in everything. So I do not recommend that. Kind of fill it in over here because that's pretty much all one mass. What I do when I'm working with a reference is on the color image, I will do any changes to values and colors, and then I'll desaturate it to make it black and white, and I'll take that black and white and turn it into a poster version with 4 or 5 levels, and then that helps me reconstruct the shape on whatever surface I'm using. So it's that poster version that I'm looking at right now. Go back to the background and see if we can darken that a little more. It may not darken much more than it is, at which point I will start grabbing the indigo, but I'm going to give it a shot for a little darker yet. I don't think I mentioned in this video, but that graphitint, this is a water-soluble pencil. So if you don't have a graphitint, just use a watercolor pencil in white or a light color. Could be a really pale yellow or pale blue. You could also use a white, just a regular colored pencil, but your lines won't dissolve as easily. And sometimes that you end up fighting those. I have experienced this myself, so that is why I use the water-soluble version. So how's that looking so far? Let me show you guys. So, not bad, it's okay. You can see it's still kind of wet in places. Give black dye another drop, and I think I'm gonna start in with some really dilute indigo. And at this point, so after this is like the second layer, I like to start hatching. So instead of flooding it with a solid color, just do little hatch marks. And that gives me quite a bit of realism. This indigo gets really dark really easily. So it's a bit different in that way than the black dye. Alright, I'm going to start looking at the color version. And we have, the table is this lovely turquoise. The background is this dark raspberry? I'm not sure what color to call it. Candle's a light pink. And we've got a chocolate cupcake with looks like vanilla ice cream and multicolored sprinkles, and then polka dots on the cupcake liner. We'll see if I can make those happen. As you can see, I am just making lines of color. And I will go back over and layer it darker and darker, or heavier and heavier. Something like that. Yeah, that's good. Now I added a little bleed-proof white to the blue, and so it's going to start getting a little lighter. Alright, so first background layers of color going on there. It's starting to take shape. Space for it is add a little bit of the flame, start building that up. And I'm gonna make a really pale yellow for the center bit. There we go. And that, now that I'm looking at it, that frosting is a bit on the yellow side as well. can come in and add some of that on top and start breaking up some of this shape up here. Yeah. Go ahead and do the whole candle. And then I will add some shadow to it later. Build up that blue, because this edge right here needs to pop a little more, and that's not quite enough, is it? Let's see, was my brush just too dry? Yes. Better. How about that background? Needs to be a little more intense. Getting there. Blue in this shadow. How about something a little darker? The side of that candle. Well, I want it to be intense, not just dark. So saturated? Maybe that's a better word. And that is the indigo. So far in all of the Teabag paintings I've done, what am I up to now? Oh, I'm in the 30s. I've not used black. The darkest I've used is this indigo. And sometimes that even feels too dark. Something I'm noticing where the table meets that burgundy background, there is, I think it's an optical illusion. There's just kind of a light, or a diffuse boundary there that is kind of intense. So I'm going to try and mimic that. Pretty happy with that so far. May actually get this done today. I would like the frosting to be a bit more, but what I think I might do right now, if I go in with some really heavy watercolor and start hinting at the little funfetti dots or whatever they are. Defining some of these ridges just a little more, trying to stay away from the confetti dots. One, because they're wet, and I really don't want them to bleed. Or maybe I should tint the cupcake liner pink. I kind of like that idea. Just gives it just a little hint of something. I'm going to go in with maybe a little dilute indigo. Just feel like that background needs to be a little lighter. Not much though. hinting at those ridges. You know, I think I'm gonna call that good. Coming with some dark blue or some intense blue. A little H right there. So now we have the art. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I'll show you. So this one, I don't know if you can see how iridescent that is. It's just lovely. See if I can pick some up and add it to the outside of the candle. I don't know if that's going to show up very much, but that's okay. Now to turn the art into a card. I think what I'm going to do is I have some paper that I'm going to use as the background underneath it. Let's see, I have some purples that might go well. So it could be on a purple. I think that's too dark. Of course, in that case, the darker one would be even too darker. Let's try a lighter one. That's not bad. Kind of really changes the way the background looks. The background now looks a whole lot less red and more purpley. I do have some more kind of neutrally. Neutrally, that's a word, right? Like that. Not a huge fan. Let's try a cooler one. I like that better. Yeah, I don't like that at all. I'm thinking either that one or that one, and I like that one best. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with that. Paper trimmer. I'm gonna do 4 there. And 6 here. So there's the card. There's the inset. There's the tea bag. Now I think what I want to do is grab a piece of vellum. Oops, I'm gonna need that trimmer. This just adds a hint of tea bagness. 3/4 of an inch wide and 2 inches long. Makes a pretty good facsimile of a tea tag when folded in half. Bring this back. It makes just a kind of a nudge, a hint. Cut off the corners like that. Looking good, and I can see the iridescence on the flame nicely. A little bit on the, that worked. I'm glad I did that. That came out nice. Should I add more in the cupcake liner? Probably not, right? I need to quit messing with it. All right, let me grab some more things. Got some stick glue. I've got a needle. This is just some embroidery floss. All right, we need a sharp, sturdy needle. So going to come through right about there, I think. Poke a hole to help me see. Bring that through, and I'm gonna leave enough of a tail behind that it's not gonna come out on me. And then I need to do the tags. So same thing, I'm gonna pre-punch my holes without punching a hole in my finger. And I like to come in, let's see, how do I usually do it? From the front. I'm gonna kind of play with the string placement just to help me get it. There we go. I can also adjust from the back, yeah. So I'm gonna come up to the other hole. Down again. It's gonna be a bit of a mess until I get the string sorted. There we go. And then I'm gonna come back up. I like leaving a little bit of a string back there. And sometimes I gotta see how the string wants to lay. Sometimes I need to give it a twist or not. All right, something like that. And on that tag, let's see here. If I do like that, I think that'll work. Let's do that. There we go. That will work beautifully. Now, to glue it down, I'm going to use this again. Gonna have to be careful. These are not the sturdiest of surfaces. So I'll put it right there, maybe just a little bit off kilter. And the same thing, I should have done this first. That's okay. So I'm going to do the inside of the tag, just to make sure it stays together, the back of the tag, and I'm going to run the string over it so that way I can stick the string down. There. Need something to help me stick it down. And there we go. A birthday card with a little bit of shimmer. I'm tempted. I'm really tempted to do some splatters on it with the silver paint. But again, I'm also don't want to mess it up at this point since it's practically done. Here is the envelope. So yeah, I think I'll leave it before I mess it up and sign it and take it to the recipient. So, Ruthie, I hope you enjoy this. Happy 77th birthday.